In the glittering chaos of Silicon Valley, where dreams are coded and fortunes forged, Lauren Bennett, a 38-year-old tech billionaire, strides through San Francisco's bustling streets. Her heart is cold as the glass towers she commands. Her empire, built on ruthless ambition, masks a hollow ache no wealth can fill. One sun-drenched afternoon, she pauses at a makeshift lemonade stand, where two girls, Ava and Sophie, pour their hearts into every glass, their sign pleading, "Help Grandpa's heart." Their laughter, raw and unguarded, pierces Lauren's armored soul. When she learns their names, Carter, she freezes. Ethan Carter, her lost love, the man she abandoned a decade ago for her career, is their father, now gone forever. The realization hits like a tidal wave. These girls, selling lemonade to save their grandfather, are the legacy of the life she rejected. Guilt and grief crash over her, threatening to drown her polished facade. As Ava's sharp eyes meet hers, Lauren senses a reckoning looming, a storm of regret, redemption, and truths too painful to bury. This is no chance encounter. It's fate demanding she face the love she betrayed and the family she might still save. The San Francisco skyline gleamed under a relentless June sun as Lauren Bennett stepped out of her sleek office tower, her tailored suit a shield against the world. At 38, she was the CEO of Nexus Innovations, a tech giant revolutionizing artificial intelligence. Her face graced Forbes covers, her bank account overflowed, and her penthouse overlooked the Golden Gate Bridge. Yet, as she navigated the crowded sidewalks, a familiar emptiness gnawed at her. Board meetings, investor calls, and product launches filled her days, but none filled the void she refused to name. She was a woman who had everything, except peace. On this particular afternoon, exhaustion clung to her like a second skin. Another grueling session with shareholders had left her drained, their demands for global expansion echoing in her mind. She needed air, space, anything to escape the weight of her own success. As she turned onto Market Street, a splash of color caught her eye. A small lemonade stand, its vibrant yellow tablecloth fluttering in the breeze. Two girls stood behind it, their voices bright and determined, calling out to passers-by. A handwritten sign read, "Fresh lemonade. Help Grandpa's heart medicine, $1 to a glass." The words hit Lauren like a punch. Medicine? For a grandfather? Curiosity pulled her closer. The older girl, perhaps 11, poured lemonade with practiced ease, her dark hair tied back, her eyes sharp and focused. The younger, around 9, arranged cups with artistic precision, her fingers smudged with marker from decorating the sign. They weren't begging, they were working, their dignity palpable. "Try our lemonade, ma'am," the older girl said, her voice confident but kind. "It's made with real lemons and a whole lot of heart." Lauren smiled, charmed by their earnestness. She handed over a $5 bill, waving off the change. "What are your names?" she asked, crouching to their level. "I'm Ava Carter," the older girl replied, "and this is my sister, Sophie. We're out here every Tuesday and Thursday after school to help Grandpa George." The name Carter stopped Lauren cold. Her heart thudded, a ghost from her past stirring. Carter was common, she told herself, but her mind raced. "That's wonderful you're helping your grandpa," she said, her voice steady despite the storm inside. "What about your parents?" Sophie's face fell, her big eyes glistening. "Our daddy passed away when I was little," she said softly. "Mama too. It's just us and Grandpa now." Ava nodded, her expression solemn. "Daddy had leukemia. He fought real hard, but he left us 3 years ago. Grandpa's got a bad heart, so we sell lemonade to help with his pills." Lauren's world tilted. Leukemia. 3 years ago. The math was cruel. But she needed more. "Your father," she whispered. "What was his name?" Ava straightened, proud. "Ethan Carter. Grandpa says he was the best man ever, always dreaming big for us." Lauren's knees buckled. Ethan. Her Ethan. The man she'd loved and left a decade ago. The man whose dreams she'd shattered to build her empire. These girls, these fierce, beautiful girls, were his daughters. Her past had found her, and it was selling lemonade on a San Francisco sidewalk. Lauren stumbled away from the lemonade stand, her breath shallow, the San Francisco bustle fading into a dull roar. Ethan Carter. The name burned, a wound she'd buried under years of ambition. She saw his face, those warm hazel eyes. That quiet smile, clear as if a decade hadn't passed. They'd met in 2012 at a Stanford Tech Symposium. She, a 26-year-old prodigy, he a 25-year-old AI researcher with a heart bigger than his dreams. Their love had been electric, consuming, a rare collision of minds and souls. For 2 years, they'd been inseparable, coding late into the night, sharing visions of a future where technology served humanity. Ethan wanted a family, a legacy of love. Lauren wanted the world. By 2014, their paths diverged. Ethan proposed under the stars at Muirwoods, a simple gold ring in his trembling hand. "Build a life with me, Lauren," he pleaded. But she panicked. Her startup was gaining traction. Investors were circling. A family felt like a cage, a distraction from her destiny. "I'm not ready, Ethan," she'd said, tears streaming. "You deserve someone who is." He looked at her, heartbroken but resolute. "I'll wait," he'd whispered. She didn't let him. She walked away, convincing herself love would limit her. 6 months later, she heard he'd married someone else, a nurse named Claire. Lauren buried her pain in work, building Nexus into a titan while Ethan faded into memory. Now, standing on Market Street, Ava's words echoed. Daddy had leukemia. Ethan was gone, dead at 35. And these girls, Ava, with Ethan's sharp intellect, Sophie, with his gentle warmth, were his legacy. Lauren's chest tightened, guilt clawing at her. She'd left him to chase success, and he'd built a family only to lose it all. The irony was suffocating. She had billions, while his daughters sold lemonade to afford their grandfather's medicine. She sank onto a bench, tears spilling. Ava's eyes, so like Ethan's, haunted her. The way Sophie tilted her head, just as he had, they were his. And she'd walked away from the chance to be their mother. Lauren's mind raced. She needed to know more. Back in her penthouse, she opened her laptop, hands trembling. Ethan's obituary appeared first. Dated August 2022, Ethan Carter, beloved husband, father, and son, passed away at 35 after a valiant battle with leukemia. Survived by daughters Ava, 8, and Sophie, 6, and father George Carter. Claire, their mother, had died in a car crash a year later, leaving the girls orphaned. George, now 70, was their guardian, battling congestive heart failure. Social media, managed by George, showed Ethan's final years, teaching Ava to code, reading to Sophie, his face thinning as illness took hold. One photo gutted her. Ethan, frail in a hospital bed, holding his girls, captioned, "My angels, you'll always have my heart." Lauren closed her laptop, sobbing. She'd spent a decade running from love, building an empire to fill the void Ethan left. Now his daughter stood on a street corner, fighting for survival, while she lived in luxury built on the dreams she'd abandoned. The universe had a cruel sense of timing, but Lauren knew one thing. She couldn't walk away again. She had to help them, even if they never knew why. Lauren barely slept, her penthouse silent except for the echo of Ava's voice, "Help Grandpa's heart." By dawn, she'd made a decision that would have baffled her boardroom self a week ago. She couldn't undo the past, but she could ease the Carter family's present. Money was her weapon, but anonymity was her shield. She couldn't face Ava and Sophie as Ethan's ex, not yet. The guilt was too raw, the truth too heavy. Instead, she'd help from the shadows, ensuring their grandfather's survival without raising suspicion. She called Marcus Tate, a private investigator Nexus used for corporate espionage. "Marcus, I need everything on George Carter, age 70, and his granddaughters, Ava and Sophie." She said at 5 a.m., medical records, address, finances, school details, everything. By noon, Marcus, unfazed by the hour, delivered. George lived in a cramped Oakland apartment, his heart condition requiring $900 monthly in medication, beta blockers, ACE inhibitors, and bi-weekly cardiologist visits. His Social Security barely covered rent, leaving the girls' lemonade stand as their lifeline. Ava, a fifth-grade prodigy, scored in the 98th percentile on math tests. Sophie, in third grade, was a budding artist, her teachers noting her emotional depth. Both were honor students, but Ava's teachers flagged her exhaustion, her protective instincts towards Sophie bordering on parental. Lauren's plan took shape. Using her network, she contacted Councilwoman Elena Ruiz, a contact from a Nexus-funded STEM program. "Elena, I need a favor," Lauren said. "Set up a municipal health fund for seniors, fully funded by an anonymous donor, me." Within 48 hours, the Bay Area Health Fund was born, a convincing fiction with official letterhead and a city budget line. It would deliver George's medications free, no questions asked. Lauren ensured the paper trail was airtight, her name buried under layers of bureaucracy. By Wednesday, a pharmacy technician arrived at George's apartment with a month's supply of pills and a letter explaining his automatic enrollment. Lauren watched from across the street, binoculars in hand, as George read the letter, confusion etched on his face. She returned to the lemonade stand that afternoon, her heart pounding. Ava and Sophie were there, their setup meticulous, price tags, a cash box, a calculator. Back for more lemonade? Ava asked, her tone polite but guarded. Lauren nodded, forcing a smile. It's the best in town. She bought 2 glasses, probing gently. How's your grandpa? Sophie beamed. He's okay, but his medicine costs a lot. That's why we're here. Lauren's chest ached. These girls, Ethan's girls, were carrying burdens no child should. She left, vowing to do more. Over the next week, Lauren expanded her efforts. She funneled funds to Ava's school for a science lab. Anonymously, she paid off George's overdue utility bills through a city grant. Each act felt like a drop in the ocean of her guilt, but she couldn't stop. She was helping, yes, but also hiding. Hiding from the truth that she'd broken Ethan's heart, that her choices had ripple effects now staring back at her in Ava's piercing gaze. As she watched the girls from afar, she wondered how long her deception could hold. Ethan's daughters were sharp, and the truth, like code, had a way of surfacing. Lauren sat in her dimly lit penthouse, the city's glow filtering through floor-to-ceiling windows. Her laptop hummed, a portal to the past she could no longer ignore. Helping Ava and Sophie had eased her guilt, but it hadn't filled the void Ethan left. She needed to understand him, to know the man he'd become after she walked away. Digging through old emails, she searched for traces of their shared history, late-night code snippets, playful banter, dreams of changing the world. Then, buried in a 2013 thread, she found it. An attachment labeled healthai_draft1.zip. Her breath caught. Ethan's work. Their work. They'd brainstormed it together in 2012, an AI algorithm to predict disease progression, meant to revolutionize healthcare. She'd dismissed it as a side project, too speculative for her startup's focus. But Ethan had kept going. Unzipping the file, she found pages of code, meticulously commented in his familiar style. The algorithm was brilliant, using machine learning to anticipate leukemia complications, ironic, given his fate. Notes dated 2019. Months before his death, showed he'd refined it, hoping to save others from the disease that claimed him. For Ava and Sophie, he'd written, for a world where families stay whole. Lauren's tears fell. This was Ethan's legacy, unfinished, unpublished, lost to time. She spent hours decoding it, her old coding instincts reigniting. The algorithm was ahead of its time. But incomplete, Ethan had lacked the resources to test it. Lauren's mind raced. Nexus had the computing power, the data, the team to bring it to life. But more than that, this was Ethan's gift to his daughters, proof he'd fought for them until the end. She imagined Ava, with her sharp mind, understanding her father's vision. Sophie, with her artist's heart, seeing his love in every line of code. Lauren could finish it, not for profit, but for them. The discovery shifted something in her. Helping with medicine was one thing. This was Ethan's dream. Their dream, abandoned when she chose ambition over love. She contacted Dr. Rachel Kim, a Stanford oncologist and Nexus collaborator. Rachel, I've got an AI model for leukemia prediction. Lauren said, voice steady. It's experimental, but I need your team to validate it. Anonymously, Rachel agreed, intrigued. Lauren funded the project through a shell company, ensuring no link to her name. She wasn't ready for Ava or Sophie to know, not when her help was still a secret. But the algorithm's potential gnawed at her. It could save lives, yes, but it also tied her to Ethan in ways she hadn't expected. Every night, she worked on it, debugging lines he'd written, feeling him in every variable. It was penance, connection, a way to keep him alive. Yet, as she watched Ava and Sophie at their stand, she knew her anonymous aid was fraying. Ava's eyes, so like Ethan's, scanned the crowd with growing suspicion. Lauren's secret was a house of cards, and the truth was coming. She could feel it, like a bug in code, waiting to crash the system. For now, she clung to Ethan's algorithm, a lifeline to the man she'd lost and the daughters she longed to save. The San Francisco fog rolled in, shrouding Market Street as Lauren approached the lemonade stand. Her heart a tangled knot of hope and dread. For weeks, she'd funneled money to the Carters, medication, utilities, school grants, all cloaked in anonymity. But Ava's sharp gaze unnerved her. The 11-year-old was no ordinary child. Her questions were precise, her instincts razor-sharp. "You're here a lot," Ava said, handing Lauren a lemonade. "Why do you keep coming back?" Lauren forced a smile. "I like supporting you girls." Ava's eyes narrowed, unconvinced, as Sophie hummed, arranging cups. Lauren left quickly, her pulse racing. The net was tightening. That evening, disaster struck. Lauren's phone buzzed at 2 a.m. Dr. Rachel Kim, her Stanford contact. "Lauren, I'm at UCSF Medical Center. George Carter's here. Heart attack. His granddaughters mentioned selling lemonade for his meds, and I thought of you." Lauren's blood ran cold. "How bad is it?" she asked. "Critical," Rachel replied. "He needs a stent and long-term care. Insurance won't cover it all." Lauren was in her car within minutes, speeding through empty streets to the hospital. She found Ava and Sophie in the pediatric waiting room, Ava's arm around her sobbing sister. "What are you doing here?" Ava demanded, her voice raw with fear. "I have hospital contacts," Lauren lied. The words bitter. "I heard about your grandpa." Ava's suspicion flared, but Sophie's tears softened her. "They say it's $20,000 for his surgery," Ava whispered. "We don't have that." Without hesitation, Lauren approached the billing desk. "I'm covering George Carter's expenses," she said, handing over her card. "All of it." The clerk blinked. "Are you family?" Lauren swallowed. "A friend, through a community program." Another lie, but it held. She returned to the girls, avoiding Ava's piercing stare. "It's taken care of," she said softly. Ava's jaw tightened. Questions brewing. In George's room, the old man lay frail, monitors beeping. Ava clutched his hand, Sophie curled beside her. Lauren lingered in the doorway, guilt choking her. Then George's eyes opened, locking onto her. "You," he rasped, voice weak but certain. "I know you." Lauren froze. He'd seen her in Ethan's photos. Heard stories of the woman who broke his son's heart. "You're Lauren," he said louder. Ava's head snapped up. "How does Grandpa know you?" she asked, voice sharp. Lauren stammered. I must look familiar." George's gaze hardened, but exhaustion silenced him. Ava's eyes burned with doubt, piecing together fragments of a truth Lauren wasn't ready to face. By morning, George stabilized, but the hospital buzzed with questions. A nurse mentioned a generous donor to Ava, who overheard. Back at the stand days later, Ava confronted Lauren. "The health fund." "The hospital bill. It's all you, isn't it?" she accused. "Why are you lying? Who are you really?" Lauren's heart pounded. Her web of deception was unraveling, and Ava, Ethan's brilliant daughter, was pulling the threads. The crisis wasn't just George's health. It was the truth, clawing its way out. Lauren knew she couldn't hide much longer. The girls deserved answers. And the weight of her past was about to crash down, exposing everything she'd fought to bury. Lauren's world teetered on the edge as she stood before Ava and Sophie's lemonade stand. The San Francisco breeze carrying the weight of Ava's accusation. "You're not just some nice lady," Ava said, her 11-year-old voice cutting like glass. "You paid for Grandpa's surgery. You made the health fund. Why are you lying?" Sophie, confused, clutched her sister's arm. Lauren's throat tightened, her carefully built facade crumbling. Before she could respond, George appeared. Discharged but frail, leaning on a cane. His eyes locked onto Lauren, recognition blazing. "You're her," he said, voice low and fierce. "Ethan's Lauren, the one who left him." Ava's gasp sliced the air. "You knew our dad?" she demanded, stepping forward. Lauren's knees buckled, but she nodded, tears brimming. "Yes," she whispered. "I knew him. A long time ago." George's voice grew sharper. "Knew him? You were engaged. You broke his heart, and he never stopped loving you." Sophie's eyes widened, but Ava's face hardened, her analytical mind racing. "How do you know her, Grandpa?" she pressed. George sighed, weary. "Your dad showed me photos. Told me about the woman who chose her career over him. I never forgot your face." Ava's hand shook as she pulled a worn photo from her backpack, a snapshot Ethan had kept, Lauren and him laughing at a Stanford hackathon. "I found this in Dad's old stuff," Ava said, voice trembling with fury. "It's you. You were his fiancée, and now you're pretending to be a stranger." The betrayal in her eyes was Ethan's, piercing Lauren's soul. "I didn't know about you," Lauren said, voice breaking. "Not until I saw you here. I left your dad because I was scared, not because I didn't love him. I've regretted it every day." "Regretted it?" Ava snapped. "You left him, and he had to start over. He met Mom, had us, got sick, and died. We're selling lemonade because of you. Your choices made our life this way." Sophie sobbed, clinging to George, who looked torn between anger and pity. Lauren's tears fell freely. "I know," she said. "I can't undo what I did, but I'm trying to help now because you're Ethan's daughters. And he deserved better than me." Ava's voice turned icy. "We don't need your guilt money. We needed our dad." The confrontation drew a small crowd, passers-by whispering. Lauren felt exposed, raw. Every lie stripped away. George spoke, softer now. "Ethan forgave you, Lauren. Said he hoped you'd find happiness. But these girls, they're living the consequences of your choice." Ava turned away, pulling Sophie close. "Stay away from us," she said, voice flat. Lauren nodded, heart shattering, and walked away, the photo of her and Ethan burning in her mind. She'd wanted to help anonymously, to atone without facing her past. But Ava's sharp mind and George's memory had torn through her deception. Back in her penthouse, Lauren collapsed, sobbing. The truth was out, jagged and unforgiving. Ava's words echoed, "Your choices made our life this way." She'd run from Ethan's love, and his daughters were paying the price. But running wasn't an option anymore. She had to face them, not as a savior, but as the woman who'd shaped their pain. The reckoning was here, and it demanded courage she wasn't sure she had. Lauren stood in her penthouse, the San Francisco skyline mocking her with its cold brilliance. Ava's words, "We don't need your guilt money," cut deeper than any boardroom loss. She tried to help in shadows, but her lies had only deepened the Carter girls' pain. Hiding was no longer an option. She had to own her past, not just to them, but to the world. Ethan's unpublished AI algorithm, still open on her laptop, was her chance. It was his dream, their dream, and she'd buried it when she left him. Now, it could be her redemption, if she was brave enough. She called Dr. Rachel Kim. "The leukemia algorithm, announce it at the tech summit next week," Lawrence said. "But don't credit Nexus. Credit Ethan Carter. I'll fund it through a nonprofit in his name." Rachel hesitated. "This is huge, Lauren. Why not take credit?" Lauren's voice cracked. "Because it's his, and I owe him everything." She spent days preparing, not just the algorithm's demo, but a speech that would bare her soul. The summit, Silicon Valley's biggest stage, drew thousands, CEOs, coders, media. If she faltered, her reputation would burn. But Ava's fury demanded truth, not polish. The summit's auditorium buzzed as Lauren took the stage, her usual confidence replaced by raw vulnerability. 10 years ago, she began, voice steady despite trembling hands. "I walked away from the love of my life, Ethan Carter, to chase ambition. He was a brilliant AI researcher with a dream to save lives through technology. I dismissed that dream and him because I was afraid. Ethan died of leukemia, leaving 2 daughters, Ava and Sophie, who fight every day to survive. I've spent weeks trying to help them anonymously, hiding from my guilt. But they deserve better. They deserve the truth." The crowd was silent, stunned. Lauren clicked to a slide of Ethan's algorithm, its code elegant, human. "This is Ethan's work. An AI to predict leukemia progression. He built it for a world where families like his could stay whole. I'm funding its development through the Ethan Carter Foundation with no profit to Nexus. This isn't about business. It's about righting a wrong." Tears streamed down her face. "Ava, Sophie, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I failed your father, but I won't fail you again." The speech went viral, headlines screaming, "Tech Titan's tearful confession." Social media split. Some called her brave, others a hypocrite. Lauren didn't care. She'd done it for Ava's piercing eyes, Sophie's quiet trust, George's weary forgiveness. Days later, she returned to the lemonade stand, heart pounding. Ava stood there, arms crossed. Sophie beside her. "We saw your speech," Ava said, voice guarded. "Why'd you do it?" Lauren knelt, meeting her gaze. "Because your dad deserved to be remembered. And because you deserve to know I'm not hiding anymore." George, watching, nodded slightly. Sophie tugged Ava's sleeve. "She said sorry on TV, Ava. Doesn't that mean something?" Ava's jaw tightened, but her eyes softened. It's a start, she said. But don't think this fixes everything. Lauren nodded, accepting the rebuke. Her confession had opened a door, but trust was a marathon, not a sprint. She'd shown the world her shame. Now, she had to prove to Ethan's daughters she could be more than her mistakes. Lauren's public confession had cracked the wall between her and the Carters. But Ava's guarded, it's a start, lingered like a storm cloud. Weeks passed, and Lauren kept her distance, showing up at the lemonade stand only to buy a glass, never pushing for more. She funded George's care and the Ethan Carter Foundation, but Ava's silence was deafening. Lauren felt the weight of Ethan's absence more than ever, his daughters a living reminder of her cowardice. Then, one rainy October evening, everything changed. George called, voice urgent. "Lauren, Ava wants to see you. At our apartment." Now, Lauren arrived at the modest Oakland flat, heart hammering. Ava stood in the living room, clutching a notebook, Sophie and George behind her. The air was thick with tension. "I've got questions," Ava said, her 11-year-old voice fierce. Ethan's intensity blazing in her eyes. "And I want real answers, not TV speeches." Lauren nodded, sitting, ready to face the reckoning. "Ask me anything," she said, voice steady despite the fear clawing her chest. "Why did you leave my dad?" Ava's question was a blade. Lauren took a shaky breath. "I was 26, Ava. Terrified. Your dad wanted a family. A life I thought would trap me. I loved him, more than I've ever loved anyone. But I was scared I'd fail him. So I ran." Ava's eyes narrowed. "You didn't just fail him. You broke him. Grandpa said he was never the same. He met Mom, had us, but your leaving, it changed him." Lauren's tears fell. "I know, and I live with that every day." Sophie, quiet until now, spoke. "Did you ever think about us? Before you found us?" Lauren's heart cracked. "I didn't know you existed, Sophie. But when I saw you, I saw him. And I hated myself for what I'd thrown away." Ava slammed her notebook down, voice rising. "You don't get to feel sorry. You got rich while we lost everything. Dad, Mom, everything. You think paying for Grandpa's medicine makes up for that?" Her words were a torrent, years of grief and rage pouring out. Lauren didn't flinch. "No, it doesn't. I was a coward, Ava. I chose ambition over love because I was too scared to be vulnerable. Your dad was brave. He built a family, loved you fiercely, even when he was dying. I'll never be that brave, but I'm trying to be better for you, for him." Ava's eyes glistened, her voice breaking. "I hate you for leaving him, but I hate that I don't hate you completely. You're helping us, and it makes everything so confusing." George placed a hand on Ava's shoulder, his voice gentle. "She's not your enemy, Ava. She's human." Sophie hugged Ava, whispering, "She's trying, like Daddy always said to try." Ava sank onto the couch, sobbing. Lauren stayed, silent, letting the storm pass. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was raw, real, a purging of pain. Ava looked up, voice small. "I don't trust you yet, but I don't want you to go away either." Lauren nodded, tears streaming. The showdown had bared their souls, leaving scars but also a fragile bridge. For the first time, Lauren felt Ethan's presence not as guilt, but as hope. The weeks following Ava's confrontation were tentative, like walking on new ice. Lauren respected Ava's boundaries, showing up at the lemonade stand with quiet consistency, never demanding more than a nod. She poured herself into the Ethan Carter Foundation, the AI algorithm gaining traction among researchers. But her heart was with Ava and Sophie, Ethan's daughters, who carried his fire and fragility. Healing, she realized, wasn't in grand gestures but in shared moments, built slowly, deliberately, like code that takes time to compile. One chilly November afternoon, George called again. "Ava's struggling with a school project," he said. "It's about leukemia. Your algorithm inspired her. She won't ask, but she needs help." Lauren hesitated, wary of overstepping, but arrived at the Oakland apartment with a laptop and a promise to listen. Ava, now 12, sat at the kitchen table, papers scattered. Frustration etched on her face. "It's too hard," she muttered. "Dad's algorithm is genius, but I can't explain it for my science fair." Lauren sat beside her, careful. "Let's break it down together. Your dad made it simple at its core." For hours, they worked, Lauren translating complex AI into terms Ava's brilliant mind could grasp. "It predicts how leukemia progresses," she explained, "so doctors can act faster. Your dad wanted to save families like yours." Ava's eyes lit up, Ethan's curiosity mirrored in her. "He was trying to save himself too, wasn't he?" she asked. Lauren nodded, throat tight. He fought for you and Sophie until the end. The project took shape, a clear, passionate presentation on AI's potential. Ava's pride was palpable, but so was her grief. Sophie, watching, tugged Lauren's sleeve. I made something too. She revealed a sketchbook, pages bursting with color, drawings of their family, Ethan and Clara's glowing figures. George strong again, Ava and Sophie laughing. One image stopped Lauren, herself, holding Ava's hand, a faint smile on Ethan's face above. You're in our story now, Sophie said shyly. Not like Mom. But like you. Lauren's eyes stung. Sophie's art was her way of processing loss, weaving Lauren into their healing. The science fair was a triumph. Ava won first place, her speech echoing Ethan's vision. Lauren watched from the back, heart swelling as Ava thanked my dad's work and, hesitantly, a friend who helped. Afterward, Sophie hugged Lauren, unprompted. Ava approached, guarded but softer. You didn't have to come, she said. Lauren smiled. I wanted to. Your dad would be so proud. Ava nodded, a tear escaping. Maybe you're not all bad. Back at the apartment, Lauren shared Ethan's old code notes with Ava, a gift of his mind. Sophie showed more drawings, each a step toward acceptance. George, healthier now. Watched with quiet approval. The girls weren't ready to forgive fully, but they were building something new, trust, rooted in shared purpose. Lauren felt Ethan in every moment, his love guiding them. She wasn't their mother, but she was becoming something else, a mentor, a protector, a piece of their patchwork family. The algorithm, the art, the science fair, they were bridges. Not just to Ethan's legacy, but to a future where love could grow from pain, one careful step at a time. 2 years after that fateful lemonade stand encounter. The Carter apartment in Oakland buzzed with Christmas warmth, a stark contrast to the sterile chill of Lauren's old penthouse life. Handmade ornaments, Sophie's creations, adorned a modest tree. And Ava's meticulous gift arrangement reflected her ordered mind. Lauren arrived early, arms full of ingredients for Ethan's favorite holiday pancakes, a recipe George had shared. The gesture wasn't about erasing the past, but weaving it into their present, honoring Ethan's love through traditions that bound them. This was no longer a house of survival. It was a home of chosen family. Lauren, now 40, had changed. Nexus thrived, but her heart was here, with Ava, Sophie, and George. The Ethan Carter Foundation had launched its AI algorithm globally, saving lives and cementing Ethan's legacy. Ava, at 13, was a rising star, accepted into a UC Berkeley program for gifted teens, studying genetics to fight leukemia. Sophie, 11, filled sketchbooks with art that galleries noticed, her work a vibrant tapestry of hope. George, stabilized by proper care, looked younger than his 72 years, his heart condition managed. Lauren's quiet support, never again hidden, had lifted their burdens, but it was her presence that mattered most. Christmas morning unfolded with laughter. Sophie launched into Lauren's arms. Her trust complete. Ava's hug was reserved but warm, a silent acknowledgement of their journey. Show her the letter, George urged Ava, grinning. Ava blushed, handing Lauren a printout. It's my Berkeley application essay, she said, about Dad's algorithm and you. Lauren read, tears welling. Ava wrote of her father's dream, her own resolve to cure leukemia, and a woman who taught me second chances are real. Lauren knelt, voice thick. Your dad would be amazed, Ava. You're his fire. Sophie unveiled her latest painting, a sprawling mural of their family. Ethan and Claire shone as guardian angels. George stood tall, Ava and Sophie laughed, and Lauren was there, woven into the canvas, not replacing anyone, but adding love. You're our family now, Sophie said, matter of fact. Ava nodded, no trace of her old anger. You didn't give up, she said, even when I hated you. Lauren's heart swelled. She'd earned this, not with money, but with time, truth, and unrelenting care. They cooked Ethan's pancakes, sharing stories of him, his goofy coding puns, his bedtime stories. Lauren gave gifts, a genetics textbook for Ava, a professional art kit for Sophie, a restored photo of Ethan for George. But the real gift was the moment, laughter, warmth, a family rebuilt from loss. Ava raised her juice glass. To Dad, who never stopped loving us. Sophie added, to Mom, who's watching. George smiled. To Lauren, who chose us. Lauren clinked her glass, tears falling. To forever families. As snow dusted San Francisco, Lauren looked at Ethan's daughters, no longer struggling but thriving, and felt peace. She'd spent a decade fearing love would limit her. Now, it was her strength. Ethan's legacy lived in Ava's brilliance, Sophie's art, and their shared courage. Lauren wasn't their mother, but she was theirs, a family forged not by blood but by choice. Proving love could redeem even the deepest regrets. The story of Lauren, Ava, Sophie, and George reveals a profound truth. Love demands courage, not perfection. Lauren's greatest mistake wasn't choosing ambition over Ethan, it was letting fear dictate her choice, believing love would weaken her. Her journey, from a billionaire hiding behind wealth to a woman embracing vulnerability, shows that redemption begins with owning our failures. Ava's fury and Sophie's trust forced Lauren to face the ripple effects of her past, proving that true healing comes from consistent, selfless acts, not grand gestures. Love isn't a finite resource. It multiplies when shared, building families not bound by blood but by choice. Ethan's legacy, his algorithm, his daughters, taught Lauren that regret can fuel purpose, transforming pain into hope. This is the heart of their story. No mistake is too great to overcome if we choose to show up, day after day, with honesty and heart. We all carry regrets, words unsaid, chances untaken. Love's left behind. Lauren's path reminds us that it's never too late to make amends, to bridge the gaps we've created. The courage to face our past, to admit our flaws, can rebuild what was broken, creating connections stronger for their scars. Ava and Sophie's forgiveness, earned through Lauren's persistence, shows that love grows in the cracks of our mistakes, if we're willing to tend it. Pause today and reflect on a regret that haunts you, a friend you lost, a family member you hurt, a dream you abandoned. Write their name, recall their face, and feel the weight of what was left undone. Then, take one small, brave step. Send a message, make a call, or offer an apology. It won't erase the past, but it will plant a seed. Choose love over fear, just as Lauren did, and start building your own forever family. The first step is yours. Take it now, and let love multiply.